to our basic science class. We are taking part 2 of force. The other day we discussed the part 1, where we saw the difference between magnetic force and gravitational force. And we discussed what force is. Today, our objective for the class is for us to discuss two things: balanced force, unbalanced force. What are balanced force and what are unbalanced force? Balanced force, a force whereby two forces of equal size act on a body in opposite direction, or if two individual forces are of equal magnitude and opposite, then the force are said to be balanced. If two objects are of equal size, the force is said to be balanced. Now let's take, for example, this is the ground. This is a stone here. Let's assume this is my stone placed on the ground. If the gravitational force pushing this stone downwards is 5 Newton, and the force pushing it upward is the same 5 Newton, this force is said to be balanced. The force pushing it, the gravitational force pushing the rock, this is a rock. If the force pushing the rock down gravitationally is 5 Newton, this Newton is used to, N, capital letter N, is used to calculate force. And it is derived from Sir Isaac Newton, the propounder of the law of motion. In physics, when you get to your SS classes, you're going to learn about this law propounded by Sir Isaac Newton. But force is calculated by N. Remember that capital letter N derived from Newton's name, N. And so force, if the force pushing the rock down is 5 Newton, and the force pushing the rock upward from this soil surface upward, pushing it upward, is that same 5 Newton, we can say that the rock will have balanced force. Now let's take another example. A boy, a small boy, is standing on a ground. This is the ground, and this is the boy standing on the ground. This is the boy standing on the ground. And the gravitational force pushing the boy downward is 3 Newton. And at the surface of the earth, the force pushing it from the surface of the earth is still 3 Newton. We can say that this is a balanced force. That is one example. Now let's take another example. I have 2 boys here. This is one of the boys. And I have a rope here. This is another boy. And the two of them are pushing, dragging this rope in opposite direction. And the force coming from this boy is 3 Newton. And the force coming from this boy is equally 3 Newton. We can say the force is balanced. Remember our explanation of what balanced force is? Balanced force, a force where two forces of equal size act on a body. These forces are of equal size. So if you take note, here, the force here is 3 Newton, and the force here is 3 Newton. So I can say that the force happening here is equal, because they are of equal size. 3 Newton are working on the objects. That is another example. Now let's take, for example, this is a table. If this is a table standing here, and a flower vase is standing on this table. This is a flower vase standing on this table. Now, the gravitational force pushing this vase down is 2 Newton, and the force from the table pushing it upwards is 2 Newton. We can say, because they are of equal forces, 2 Newton, 2 Newton, they are balanced forces. I hope you understand what a balanced force is. It has to do with 2 objects, 2 bodies that have equal size acting on a body. If I bring 2 students now of the same size, the same body mass, and the same strength, and they are dragging a rope, they are applying same force of 3 Newton or 5 Newton on both ends, the force is balanced because no one is taking it more. That is what we refer to as balanced force. Now we have seen what is balanced force, and we have seen about 3 examples on this. Let's go to unbalanced force. What is unbalanced force? For the practical, you will do it. You and your friend should stand. Give your friend a rope and you hold the rope, and the 2 of you should drag it at the same force. The same force applied to it. You'll find out that it will be at that stable point. No one is going to be more on the other side. Do that experiment and you'll find out. Now let's go to unbalanced force. Now let's take our next objective, unbalanced force. We have seen what a balanced force is. Now unbalanced force is that force that causes a change in the motion of an object, making the object change in speed or direction. Unbalanced force is not equal, and unbalanced force make a body or an object to change direction or move at a higher speed. Let's go to our example. If this is a boy and this is a girl, and this is a rope that both of them are dragging, and now this is the boy, this is the girl. The boy applied 10 Newton and the girl applied 6 Newton. You will agree with me that the one that applied 10 Newton is going to drag the rope to his or her side, to his side, because it's the boy that has the more force applied. And so the boy drags it with 10 Newton, which is the force is higher on this side than the other side. And so we can say that this force is unbalanced. We have unbalanced force here because the boy have put in 10 Newton, the girl has put in 6 Newton, and so the force is on the boy's side. That is one example. Now let's take another example. If this is a flat table without legs, and this is a block, this is a block that this flat wood is placed on, and a boy sits in here, another boy sits in here. The boy on this side has 10 Newton, and the boy on this side has 8 Newton. You will find out that this flat wood is going to drag down this way because this boy have applied more force on this. The weight is higher. This is an unbalanced force because the force here is 10 Newton and the force here is 8 Newton. Unbalanced force. That is another example. Now, if a car at rest is just on his own, the car is parked, this car was parked, the driver is in here seated, and the car is at rest, and three boys apply a force that is about 30 Newton and push it forward. This car is going to move. It's going to move. The car will be on motion. That is unbalanced force. So we have seen what balanced and unbalanced force is. Balanced force have equal Newton on both sides, and they move on opposite direction. I use the force of gravity pushing upward and the force of the soil pushing downward to be 3 Newton, and here 3 Newton. That is balance. But if the force, the gravitational force pushing upward, downward, it's 10, and the force pushing it from the ground is 5, you see they are unbalanced force. So class, we've seen what balanced force and what unbalanced force. Let me use this summary to wrap up the class. Balanced forces or balanced force, 1, they are equal in size. 2, causes no movement, they are in a fixed position, act on opposite direction. The drag on this side 5 Newton, the drag on this side 5 Newton. But for unbalanced force, 1, they are unequal in size. 2, always causes movement because the push on one side is going to be heavier, and so it's pulled to that side. Then can be in same or opposite direction. They can be coming the same direction or opposite direction. So this is our first class for today on our basic science course. Class will have seen balance and unbalanced force. Thank you for dropping by on the channel. We will take part 3 of our first class of our basic science class on the force in our next class. Until I see you, thank you for dropping by. Subscribe if you've not subscribed. Give us a like if you like what we're doing here. Thank you for dropping by.